What would you do if you had to choose between love and ambition? David had always dreamed of a life far removed from his humble beginnings. As a warehouse worker, he spent his days hauling boxes and his nights wandering the streets of his neighborhood, fantasizing about the glamorous lives of the wealthy. He admired the sophisticated women he saw, confident, elegant, and dripping with luxury. To him, they represented everything he aspired to: success, beauty, and status. But they never noticed him. He was invisible to them, just another face in the crowd. Then he met Sarah. She was different. She wasn't dressed in designer labels or showing off her figure. She was modest, fully clad, and carried herself with a quiet grace. Sarah was kind, intelligent, and supportive. She saw David for who he was, not what he had. They fell in love, and for a while, David felt content. Sarah became his anchor, his safe haven in a world that often felt cold and unkind. But David's life changed when he crossed paths with a wealthy businessman named Mr. Thompson. Impressed by David's work ethic and determination, Mr. Thompson took him under his wing, mentoring him and giving him opportunities he never thought possible. Over time, David climbed the social ladder. He traded his worn jeans for tailored suits, his modest apartment for a penthouse, and his old life for one of luxury. With his newfound wealth and status, David became the man he had always dreamed of being. And suddenly, the women who had once ignored him were now vying for his attention. They were everything he had ever wanted: sophisticated, glamorous, and confident. They fit perfectly into his new world, and David couldn't help but feel drawn to them. They represented the life he had always craved, and he loved the way they made him feel: powerful, desirable, and successful. But there was Sarah. She remained the same, modest, supportive, and deeply in love with him. She didn't fit into his new world of glitz and glamour. She didn't wear revealing clothes or attend high-profile events. Yet, she had been there for him when he had nothing. She had believed in him when no one else did. David found himself torn. On one hand, the sophisticated women who now pursued him were everything he had ever dreamed of. They were the embodiment of the life he had worked so hard to achieve. On the other hand, Sarah was his rock, his true partner. She had stood by him through thick and thin, and he knew she loved him for who he was, not what he had become. But the question remained: should he marry Sarah, the woman who had been his constant support, even if she didn't fit into his new world? Or should he pursue one of the glamorous women who now seemed so perfect for his lifestyle, but might not love him for who he truly was? David's heart was at war with itself. He loved the attention and admiration he received from the glamorous women. But he also loved Sarah for her unwavering support and genuine love. He felt guilty for even considering leaving her, but he couldn't ignore the allure of the life he had always wanted. One evening, as he sat in his luxurious penthouse, surrounded by the trappings of his success, David found himself staring at a photo of Sarah. It was a simple picture, taken during one of their early dates. She was smiling, her eyes filled with warmth and love. He realized that while the sophisticated women might fit his new status, Sarah fit his soul. In the end, David had to make a choice. He could either follow his lifelong dream of being with a sophisticated, glamorous woman, or he could choose the woman who had loved him when he had nothing. The decision would define not just his future, but who he was as a person. This story raises important questions about love, loyalty, and the true meaning of success. Should David prioritize his lifelong dreams and desires, or should he honor the love and loyalty that Sarah has shown him? The answer lies in what he values most: the external trappings of success or the genuine connection he shares with Sarah. This is the dilemma David faces, and it's one many of us can relate to. What would you do in his situation? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more stories from the Dilemma Diaries, where every choice tells a story.